friends, and welcome to All the Things TV, where we discuss full living and goal-getting with the grace and gifts God gives. I'm Tiffany Jo Baker, and today I have with me one of my favorite powerhouse friends, Michelle Brogran. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on and talking with me today.
I just love you, and I'm so honored to be here with you this morning.
Oh, you're so sweet. I'm so excited that even despite all the things, like we're mid-COVID, that we can still connect like this. So
Yes,
I just love the wins that we have going on. But let me tell people about you, a little bit about you. So Michelle Brogran is a pastor, speaker, producer, wife, mother, and mentor. So she's been traveling for over 20 years, doing the things that God's called her to do and helping other people to learn what their gifts are and to use them for God, which I love. So she's got discipleship programs, leadership training, large-scale productions, an epicenter for the arts, and does all the things for today's generation and the generation to come. So I don't even know where to start, Michelle. Like, I was like thinking about it, praying about it. I was like, there's so many things that I could ask you. There's so many things that we could glean from you. But one of the things that really stuck out to me when I was looking at your bio is that part where it said, and let me see if I can find it now that we're in the middle of it, where it said that you basically help people discover what their gifts are and use them for God's glory.
Right.
So what was that process for you as God shared with you what your gift was and how to use it? Because you're using it in a very unique, interesting way. And so can you kind of share like your process of how God revealed to you how he wanted to use you?
You know, God took me through this journey once of showing me about like what we would call a hobby or a passion, but then what people look over here as our spiritual life. For so long, we've separated the two, thinking because we love it and we're passionate, or it's a fun thing, or it's something we love, that God doesn't love it just as much and gave us that whatever it is to put together with what he called us to do. So he showed me this vision once of going to a rental car parking lot, and I'm super picky with rental cars. Alec knows I got to smell it. I got to look at it. I'm like, I'm not just getting in any car. So anyway, he showed me this one time of like, there's this line of people, like it'd be you and me and people we know behind us. And we're going to this parking lot, but we all have the GPS going in the same place, but he's letting us pick. And, you know, he's showing us, I want you in this vehicle, but we're all going in the same direction, but our vehicles are all different. So whatever that vehicle is, he showed me, I have gifted you, but it's really his dream. You know, we think it's our dream. Like, I'm dreaming to be a dancer, or I'm dreaming to be, you know, it's what he puts in our heart. People forget about that. So when he showed me the vehicle I got in was just for the same goal he has for everybody, about building his kingdom, making his name famous, showing identity to people. He just said what yours was dance. And needed to show people, whether it's synchronized swimming, crafting, whatever it is, that's the vehicle I gave them. And through all of that, I can get them going. If they got that navigation system plugged into the word of God and the call of God in their life, they're going to have people start following them along the way to the same journey. So that's just always been my goal, is to say, you know what, there's so many people that love what they do, but they've never wanted to incorporate it. They either feel like they can't, they didn't know they could. But if there's anything special and unique about what we love to do, it's because God put it in there to build his kingdom. So mine just happened to be performing arts, dance. I just loved it. And I never knew, you know, I mean, literally, I tell this in my testimony all the time. You know, I went to a Christian school for a long time, and it was back in like old school days where they were like super strict and they interviewed you. So I was really young. I remember being in the interview with my mom and to get into the school, and they were asking all these questions about your faith. And they were like, does she dance? Because they were like, you can't dance. Yeah. You can't do these things. My mom's like, no. And I thought, we're going, well, you can't lie. She wanted me in the school so bad. And I remember that moment of like, you know, she always like, why do you tell people that? And I'm like, I just thought it was so funny that was a criteria for them, that they would never allow or think that they couple that, because a lot of times things aren't being done right in the world. We've given it over to the world, so we don't see it done right with a lot of things. So that's just kind of what the Lord showed me, and that's just the track I've been on.
Amazing. How have you seen God use dance?
You know, dance is one of those things that you don't really need an interpreter. We're very visual. You know, when Jesus told parables, he told them in visuals. If he could have had a whiteboard out there, he would have drawn the figs. He would have drawn the sheep. He would have drawn the coin. He would have drawn the fig tree, because he had to bring it down to our level. So the way he did that was through pictures and through stories. And so dance is one of those pictures and stories. It's a part of the performing arts. You can draw art, there's so many things. That's a broad spectrum of that. But when you can dance, and I believe when we all get to heaven, I hear it all the time when we dance. I think you've even said it to me, like, I see myself dancing like that in my head. I'm like, you see yourself dancing like that because when you get to heaven, all the gifts are given to us, right? So I just feel like we're speaking a language that doesn't need a lot of interpretation, and we're bringing out something in people that's so visual that they know it deep within them, but when they see it walked out, lived out through movement, because God is a mover, he is a creator, he speaks and things move.
Yes.
God, I've seen it move people. I've seen it see grown men constantly in tears of just, and that's, to me, just God speaking a language that's so deep within us of pictures and passion and all of that. So that's how I see it.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I love that, a lot of times people separate ministry and business, and they're like, you can't make a living off of doing your passion or off of doing God's work or ministry. And they have sometimes this stuck mindset of that it's either ministry or it's business, and it can't be both. Could you kind of talk a little bit about that? Because I know God has just grown and allowed you to do both in a beautiful way, and giving you creative ideas on how to grow the kingdom, but also grow what you do as a business.
Right. I never went into it as a business. I went into it as a passion in my heart. But the Lord really showed me along the way, people that are going into ministry for money, that is, you don't go into ministry for money. Money will follow ministry when it's been given over to the kingdom. And, when we started, we went 10 years without paying ourselves. We sold 3 houses. We gave away 2 cars. It wasn't like we did it to do that, but it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and then those things. So for me, it wasn't something I had to be like, is this wrong or is this right? God was the one that gave me the ideas of, you're going to do this. And people be like, oh, you charge for that? I'm thinking the things we do, to do a dance revolution weekend, you have to pay the hotel. You have to pay all, 42 people that travel on a plane. So also we wanted to put value on something that God was doing, and people want to invest. We have kids that come to our conventions that spend their whole year. What I love about that, their Christmas and their birthday presents, they ask for a ticket to Dance Revolution. Now that isn't making me feel bad of, they're investing in themselves.
Yes.
And so when we invest in ourselves and we invest in the kingdom, money will come at that. God is blessed out tonight. The other thing is, when God allows it to be a business, you got to open your hand and let money flow out. So for us, it was never, we're going to start a business like this. When I start getting that, and especially in the season, if people watch this and know that we're like in the COVID time, when I got that mentality a little bit, when I started seeing things change, okay, I've got to figure this out. I could feel the pull towards the world's way and the world's kingdom of how to make money. And the Lord was like, if you're going to try and go that direction, it's not going to last. You need to stay focused on me, and I will protect you and I'll provide for you. So yeah, has it become something that's really blessed? But we have to be a blessing to others in that and never look at it as a business. But if people try and say a ministry is a business, it's, we still have to pay rent. We still want to give people an income and a job to work their passion of what God's called them to do. So we never feel guilty about that. And if there's ever a time that God puts us in check, we get in line with that. But he does bless people in that capacity. Jesus, he found the coin in the fish's mouth. It was like he was still having to pay taxes and do things. He brought too many people. I believe, if I have that right, there's too many people with him that traveled out of the 12. So he knew that was a part of what he had to do, but he just believed that he was going to be provided for, and he was every step of the way.
Amen. And the laborer is worthy of the wages.
Oh.
So it's what needs to happen to keep the cycle going in the economy that we're in. So I love how you put that. That was just beautiful. So I know that you've had to pivot a little bit during this time, as many leaders have. So one of the things I would love to hear is, when you think you have this perfect plan and you have to pivot, how do you process through that?
I don't feel like I pivot. I feel like I did a pirouette, like a full. I was like, and we were in a place where we were doing, things that, just, we've been doing this, and, some of our ministries are younger than others, but when you look, there's my dog.
I love it.
I can hear your dog. There's my dog. So I feel like I didn't just pivot. It was this momentum that happened. And for us, it became this thing where I had to put my ear, I felt like it was already close to his heartbeat, but I had to like smush my face in there because, right, I'm doing a teaching after this about, when the Lord's, we have plans in our heart. We were supposed to get a new building. We were signing literally the week when they started closing everything down. We had a contract in hand for a brand new building.
Oh, wow.
And so it wasn't just us, and listen, we were at the point that we're like, we're going forward. We're moving forward. We kept hearing the Lord say, move forward, but we had to lean into him of what that meant. Because in our flesh, we can be like, this is this, this is that. But the more I would lean into him and listen to his words, because there was that hashtag moving forward everybody was saying, but his moving forward looked a lot different. Whenever he's doing something and shaking the earth, he's doing it for a purpose for the next step. So for me, it was about laying things down instead of trying to side hustle all the time to make things work. And the more I laid down of all the things I thought were supposed to be, he was adding these things and new additions. He was changing our communication style. I didn't even know Zoom existed. I'm just not a techie person. Zoom has opened the box, not even for communication, but for the days ahead to touch more people than I ever thought possible. So I don't know if that answers your question, but for me, it was leaning in not a different way, but a deeper way, because there was a lot of plans. We had to cancel every weekend for the last 8 weeks. We had an event. We had to cancel everything. We have a studio and a building with families coming in and out. Everything we do is events. Everything is a lot of people. Well, that was the big thing. You can't have a lot of people. So we were like, how do we move forward with that kingdom, with that vehicle he's given us? And honestly, the way it's been done leaning into him has been, though it's been painful of the loss of some of the things in the events, and he has really given a strategy that has blown my mind of how he's kept us going and going strong.
Amazing. I love that. And just that picture of leaning in, just to hear better, to hear clearer, and to know, it says, the word says that my sheep hear my voice, and they hear, and I say, this is the way, go and walk in it. And so if we will listen, he will tell us what that next step is. And for people like me, and maybe you too, I'm like, okay, give me all the things. Like, I want to know the step by step, right? Please. And it's like, no, just lean in. I'm going to give you the next right thing, the next right step. Be obedient, do it, and then I'll give you the next thing. I'll bless that and continue.
Absolutely.
So, I love it.
So good.
Well, okay. So if somebody is watching and they're like, I have this passion, but I don't know what to do with it, what would you say to them?
You can always be like, okay, go for it. Get with the Lord on it. For me, it was a bit of a training waiting game. So I knew I had passion, and I was constantly praying for God to use me in big ways. And so the more I did that, I really plugged into reading, to listening, to then honing into my passion even more. I think a lot of times we have to be careful in the kingdom. We think passion's going to carry us all the way, when God couples excellence with passion. I think even in the performing arts, we wanted to be the difference, because if people were just kind of, if they're going to dance, they're like, well, I'm passionate about God. But then if we're going to touch the world with what we do, there has to be an excellence factor coupled with that. So what I would say to people is, take that passion. What are you doing? Because, you can't make something happen without the green light from God. So what I did, I felt in that season, was take that passion. I laid it at the altar, but God kept letting me pick it back up every day and work on it. What did I need to do skill-wise? What did I need to do to hear and refine what I was doing? And I kept the waiting with him of, what do you want to do with this? What do you want to do with this? Until finally, one day, after a long wait, a huge day of a testimony of giving and sewing, and we were in the middle of this crazy season of Alex and I's life. This suddenly happened. This suddenly happened where I was woken up in the middle of the night. I had a black notebook and literally laid out what I've been doing basically the last 20 years. Wow. Now, suddenly, I don't believe happened just suddenly. I believe it happened through all of the small steps I took, that sometimes we think, oh, God spoke today. He was doing it the whole time in us. It just took us a minute to catch up to hear while we were refining. So what I would say to people is, don't try and make anything happen. Don't, we've heard this from where we've grown and together, and where we've been poured into is, I don't want to do good. I want to do great. We can come up with good ideas that aren't God ideas. So that's why that I had a bunch of ideas. I remember I wanted to start, I had a logo and everything when I was really giving everything over to the Lord for this little studio. We were looking at this little space in Orlando, Florida. I was like, okay, this is it. This must be it. Like, it's God and I know how to do it. And the Lord just almost chuckled at me. Like, if you can think of it, it's probably not going to be me, because when I speak something, it's Ephesians 20. It's so much greater, so much more abundant. That's why I want to be careful with people watching as you take that passion and you keep giving till you get that green light. Work on it, refine it, and get ready, because he will speak. And when he speaks, that's when you get that green light. Just start obeying. And those obedient steps for me were bigger than what I knew to do. All of it. I was not skilled, even though I was working or refining. Then he asked me to do something even, like, I mean, my skill set and what we were doing at that time, I thought it was going to be just dance. But then he called me to lead. He called me to speak. He called me to book track, things I'd never done. But because he did those small steps along the way, my heart was inclined to say, you're going to teach me to do it. I don't have a degree for this. I have a degree in the school of hard testimonies of my life. But I would just say, lean in, like we talked about even before, refine it spiritually and physically, whatever that thing is, to get your heart ready. I'm always about preparing for where I'm not, where I'm going though. Like, you can't, where I was at that time was not where I wanted to be, but I kept preparing for where I could see, and vision. So that would be the best advice, I think, coming from where I've come from.
That's so powerful. And when you even look at like the parable of the talents, like those who had just a few talents, but they sowed them, they invested the little that they had where they were at, and God multiplied it. So so many of us with our talent are just sitting on it. We bury it, we're waiting. Okay, God, do it. I have this little talent. But no, God is about bringing our excellence, bringing our best to it, stewarding that talent. And to steward means to manage and protect. So it is all about growing and using and investing the gifts that God gives us. So then he'll multiply it, add to it, and give us more. And I love how you shared how God has done that with you, and just so powerful.
Well, fish and loaves too.
Yes.
And it reminds me of the fish and loaves, because I came to the Lord like, I know these fish smell and these loaves aren't many. So not only did he let me do something, but then the people that have been fed through so little that I had so little. And to me, it looked so smelly, and, I was like, this is what I got. And he took that. And when I look back over the last 20 years, I can't believe how he multiplied it. I can't believe it. But it was the talents really lines to me up with that fish and loaf story, because it's about giving what we've got and not going, well, I don't have enough to feed all these people.
Yes.
He's like, give me what you've got.
Yes. Well, Michelle, where can people find you if they want to learn more?
You can find us at Dance-Revolution or at Dance Rev on Facebook and Instagram. We have a discipleship program called Ingredients Dance Company. And if you're here in Texas and your kiddos, teenagers, young adults want to dance, we're Epicenter for the Arts, which is at Epi Arts on social media. So those are some places you can find us.
Yes.
Meet people.
Yes, check out Michelle. Well, friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Tiffany Jo Baker, helping you fuel and fulfill your faith journey through the ups and the downs with small wins, simple strategies, and successful relationships. Now go do all that God has created you to do with the grace and the gifts that he's given you.